Buying a new construction home can be an amazing opportunity, whether you're a first-time home buyer looking to get your foot in the door, or you're somebody who's just looking to get into something a little bit newer. Now, over the last couple of years, our team has been very blessed to help hundreds of families get into brand new construction homes in the Southern California area. But the reality is that most buyers don't actually know how the home buying process works when it comes to buying a new construction home. And so the goal of this video is to share with you everything that you need to know when you're out shopping for a brand new home, so you can make the best decision possible for you and your family. And if you're a realtor watching this, then it's important for you to know all of these things so that you can share them with your clients, inform them so that they can decide whether or not buying a new construction home is going to be the best move for them. So let's go ahead and start off with the first one. Bringing your agent on that very first visit. Why is this important? Because majority of the time, the builder is actually going to cover the cost of your realtor, meaning it doesn't cost you anything to bring your realtor with you and have them represent you. However, that very first visit is the most important one, because when you go to the community and you step into the sales office, you're going to sign a registration form. And if your agent is not there with you on that first visit to also sign that registration form with you, you've now waived the right to get free representation from your agent. Now, why do I say free? Because again, majority of the time, the builder is going to cover the cost of your agent. So it's not costing you any extra money out of your pocket. And I've had buyers tell me before, well, Reyes, if I show up without you, doesn't that mean that I could potentially get a better deal from the builder? And the reality is that the builder already factors in the commission that they're going to pay out to the agent. So whether you bring your agent with you or not, it doesn't mean that you're now going to get a lower price on the home or that you're going to get additional incentives, because that money has already been budgeted for. So on that very first visit, it's important that you bring your agent there with you so that you have somebody who can negotiate on your behalf and go to bat for you to help you get the best deal possible, instead of going directly to the builder and working with the sales rep, who their job is to help the builder make the most money possible. Now, I want to throw in a quick disclaimer. We've worked with tons of builders all over Southern California, and there are some amazing sales reps out there who are still going to do their best to protect your interests and help you get the best deal possible. But at the end of the day, they work for the builder, and they want to help the builder make the most money possible. Whereas your realtor, their job is to help you get the best deal possible, get the lowest monthly payment, save the most amount of money possible, and get the home that's right for you and your family. So the first thing is that when you find a new construction community, you may get excited to go check it out, but make sure that you take your agent with you on that very first visit so that you can get the right representation. The second thing is going to be hidden costs. Now, what do I mean by hidden costs? A lot of times, especially today, you will see a home maybe marketed on social media, maybe you'll see it online, and it's going to say home starting in whatever price range, home starting in the 500s, the 600s, the 700s. And when you actually go out to see these homes, you're going to be touring the model home. And if you're seeing something on social media, you're probably seeing a video of the model home. Now, what's unique about these model homes is that unless the builder states otherwise, most of these model homes are going to be packed with hundreds of thousands of dollars of upgrades, and that's to get you to fall in love with the home. And it makes sense, because you go to a community, you walk through the model homes, you see this beautiful flooring, this beautiful countertop, these beautiful cabinets, the backyard is beautiful. However, majority of the time, your home actually isn't going to come looking like that. And so the first thing that I want you guys to be aware of is something called a lot premium. So when you go out to tour a community and you're going through these model homes, let's just say you like plan number 3. Great. We're going to go back and we're going to ask the sales rep, or we're going to look at their price sheet and see, okay, what lots do you actually have available for plan 3? They may say we have lot 47, we may have lot 50, we may have lot 54. And the lot premium for that house is going to vary, because the more desirable a lot is, maybe it has a bigger backyard, maybe it has a view, maybe it's in a cul-de-sac, maybe the backyard isn't that nice, and so the lot premium is going to be a little bit lower. The point being is that depending on how desirable that lot is, they're going to tack on something called a lot premium, which gets added on to the initial starting price. Now, For smaller homes with not such a big backyard, that lot premium could be $5, $10, $15,000. When you get to these higher end homes that are $800,000, $900,000, $1,000,000, and they have these huge backyards, that lot premium could be $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 that gets added on to the initial starting price. So you can see why that's a hidden cost, because you may see something that's advertised as starting from $675,000, but then you get to the community and you realize that the price sheet actually shows that it's $700,000, $725,000. So you want to factor in the cost of a lot premium when you're shopping for these new construction homes. Now, the second hidden cost is going to be upgrades. Again, as I mentioned, when you're touring these model homes, they're going to be packed with hundreds of thousands of dollars of upgrades. And there are some builders out there that what you see in the model home is what you're going to actually get in the home that you buy. But a lot of times, it's actually not going to be the same upgrades that you see. Usually, you're going to get carpet throughout most of the house, bedrooms, stairs, and then you're going to get some type of tile or vinyl flooring or some type of laminate that's going to be in the wet areas. And the wet areas could be the kitchen, the bathrooms, the laundry area. And so if you want your home to look like the model home, you're going to have to factor in those upgrades. Flooring could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. You're going to go to the model home and you're going to see this open railing looks beautiful. That's going to cost money too. You're going to see a huge kitchen island with some high-end countertops. Well, that's not how your home is going to come. And so that may be an additional $20,000, $30,000 that you need to factor into the cost. So point being is the upgrades, they can be endless. And so when you go out to see a home and you look at the model home, and first off, you're thinking, okay, this home's going to be $675,000. Well, hold on a second. That lot premium actually brought it up to, let's say, $710,000. And then if I want to have the same kitchen island, the same flooring throughout the house, if I want to have the same open railing, if I want to have the same cabinets, now it could be $775,000, $800,000. So you can see how the price of the home can start to go up very quickly. And these are just examples, but I want to paint a picture for you so you can go in prepared. Another thing is, if you're in the state of California, all new construction is required to have solar. And they're going to give you the option to purchase the solar or to lease the solar. Now, if you purchase the solar, depending on how many panels, if there's a battery pack, that can also be an additional $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 that gets added on top of the starting price. If you lease it, again, still based on the panels and how many you're going to be using, but they're going to give you the option. If you purchase it, it gets added onto the total sales price. If you lease it, then depending on how many you use, the monthly payment can kind of vary. And lastly is going to be the landscaping. When you're touring the model home, you're going to walk out to the backyard and you're going to see there's a barbecue grill out there. There's beautiful landscaping. There's turf. There's cement, right? Maybe there's a hangout area that they had built out there. Maybe they set up a little basketball court out there. However, the model home is designed to have you fall in love with it. The reality is that the home that you buy is going to have one small slab piece of cement right when you exit the back door, and the rest is going to be all dirt, which means what? You have to factor in the cost of landscaping. Now, if you want to be cost efficient and maybe you just want to put some turf back there, maybe a little bit of cement, it's all good. It's 100% up to you on what you want to do. But I want you to be prepared knowing that when you buy your brand new construction home, the backyard is going to come mostly dirt. And so you now have to factor in the cost of landscaping. If you want to put a swimming pool back there, whatever it is that you want to do, that's going to be an additional cost. And so that's why I call them hidden costs, is because you're not going to see those advertised online. You're not going to see it put in a lot of these videos that you see on social media. And then when you show up to the community and your realtor isn't aware of these things and you think that you're going to buy the model home for the starting price, only to find out that the home that you're actually going to buy doesn't really have any of these features factored into it, or it has some of them factor into it because the builder sometimes has to select certain upgrades at certain cutoff dates so that they can keep the building process moving forward. That's why you'll show up to community, see a price sheet, and instead of it starting at $675,000, that same house is now going for $740,000, $750,000, $760,000, $800,000. You get the idea. So aside from bringing your agent with you on that very first visit, who should share all of this with you before you go out to check out a new construction community so you can be prepared and actually look at something that fits your budget, now you want to be aware of all the hidden costs. Lot premiums, depending on how desirable the lot is, they're going to add on an additional cost for that. Upgrades, you want the same flooring, countertops, cabinets, railing, that's going to cost money. Solar, if you're in California, they're going to give you the option to buy it or they're going to give you the option to lease it. And then landscaping, whatever you want to do with your backyard, you're going to have to factor in that cost because your backyard is going to come mostly all dirt. Now, before I move forward, again, I do want to share with you that every builder could be a little bit different. So some builders, they kind of make it easy on the buyer and they say, hey, you know what? We're not going to be offering a ton of upgrades. We have different packages. And depending on the home that you select, that may come with a certain package and you don't really have the opportunity to select your upgrades. But that gets factored into the cost of the home. And so what you see in terms of the price sheet is going to give you a better idea of what the home is actually going to cost, as opposed to most builders are going to give you a starting price. And as you start to add these things in, now the price continues to go up. So just remember, these things can change builder by builder, but majority of them, this is what you can expect. The third thing is going to be the tax rate. Now, why is the tax rate important? The tax rate is important because depending on wherever you're shopping for a home at, the tax rate can vary, right? We're over here in California where you're usually looking at something around 1.25. Again, this can all vary by city, by county, by neighborhood, literally by house, the tax rate can vary. I'm just giving you a general idea. However, with new construction, you can expect to get a higher tax rate. And again, some of these builders, they'll let you know if these things are going to be included. They'll let you know if there's a low tax rate. But a lot of times, new construction is going to have a higher tax rate. Now, why is that? Because of something called Mello-Roos and special assessments. Now, what are Mello-Roos and special assessments? Mello-Roos and special assessments are basically the costs that the new homeowner is going to pay to help fund the infrastructure of the community. They have to build roads. They have to put up street lights. Maybe they're building a park. Maybe there's a police department going on. The infrastructure of that community needs to be paid for. And so that cost then gets passed on to the buyer in terms of Mello-Roos and special assessments. And so when you go to these communities, they make it kind of bunched up with the tax rate, so it's just a little bit easier to understand. But you're probably going to see a tax rate closer to around 1.8, 1.92%. Now, why does that matter? Because if your buyer isn't aware of that, or if you're a buyer and you're not aware of that, and now you're out shopping for a home and you got pre-approved for, let's say, $700,000, but your lender approved you at $700,000 with the 1.2 tax rate, and now you come out here and it's $700,000 with the 1.9 tax rate, now that monthly payment has just changed. Now your purchasing power has just changed. And so the purpose again of this video is to set the right expectations for you as a buyer or as an agent, to set these expectations with your clients so that you can put them in the position to win. Because the last thing you want is, as a buyer, to show up to a community, be really excited about buying a home for you and your family, only to find out that the house is now going to be $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 more than what you expected. Or that the home is not going to come with all the features that you thought it was going to come with. Or you thought you were good at $700,000, but because of the higher tax rate, $700,000 is now out of your budget, especially if your margins are really thin and you're kind of just barely able to qualify. So you want to be aware of the tax rate. Now, the fourth thing that buyers wish they knew about new construction, and you'll see a lot of realtors advertise this, is the incentives. Now, what are incentives? The builder is going to offer you incentives. They're going to offer you money in the form of closing costs to incentivize you to come out and buy a home with them. Now, what does that look like? The incentives could be anything from helping cover your closing costs, so it's less money out of your pocket, because if you're a buyer, you need to be aware that, hey, in addition to my down payment, there's also something called closing costs, which is an additional cost that I need to be prepared for when buying a home, which these builders are offering to cover. So all you need is your down payment. Or they're going to allow you to use those incentives to help buy down your interest rate, because right now a big thing is interest rates being really high. And so the builder will offer these incentives to help buy down that interest rate. So now the home buying process is a little bit more affordable for you, or you can get closer to that monthly payment that you want. And the builder will also allow you to pick and choose how you want to use that. Maybe if they're offering you $30,000 in incentives, maybe you want to put 15 towards closing costs and 15 towards buying down your interest rate. It can all kind of vary. It's a case-by-case scenario, so you want to double check with the lender to see how you can utilize them. I just want to share with you some examples of how my clients have used their incentives in the past. And so with these incentives, sometimes they'll also throw in appliance packages. Hey, we're going to throw in a washer and dryer. We're going to throw in some blinds. Maybe we're going to give you some credit that you can use at the design center so you can get that upgraded flooring that you want. So you can get that upgraded countertop that you want. So incentives are going to be huge. And one thing about incentives is that a builder is usually going to be willing to give you more incentives the more they need to sell a house. And I'll kind of talk to you more about that when we get to quick move-ins and when we get to phases. But overall, the builder wants to incentivize you to want to come and buy a home with them. So as a new construction community, a lot of times they're going to tie those incentives to working with the builder's lender. So they can say, hey, you know what? When you come in, if you love a home, you want to apply for it and you want to move forward and you want to take advantage of these incentives, we're only going to give you that $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 if you use our builder's lender. So keep that in mind, because that's also going to become important when it comes to negotiations. Again, if you're a realtor, you need to be aware of all this stuff so you can put your client in a position to win. And if you're a buyer, it's important to know all these things so you make sure that you're not going directly to the builder and maybe missing out on a better deal that you could have got if you were aware of these things. So that's incentives for you. Now, number 5 is going to be time frames. Now, here's the cool thing about time frames is that the builder is going to have homes that are in different stages of being built. They're going to have some homes like quick move-ins that are going to be ready in the next 30, 45, 60 days. And then they're going to have homes that are still dirt lots and they're not going to be ready for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So depending on your time frame, maybe you're waiting for a lease to be up. Maybe you need to sell your home first. Maybe there's something that you're waiting to happen before you can actually move into your home. However, if there's a home that's available and by its completion date, it's going to line up with your time frame, you can actually reserve that home and make sure that by the time you get that job relocation, by the time your lease is up, by the time whatever that event is, you're not just getting the process started, but it's lined up for when you actually want to be in your new home buy and when that home is going to be completed. So just keep in mind that when it comes to new construction, there's going to be different time frames. There's homes that are, again, going to be ready in the next 30, 45, 60 days. And there's homes that are going to be ready in the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. And then everything in between. So when it comes to new construction, there's that flexibility there. So that may be another reason why new construction could be a great option for you. Now, let's go ahead and get into deposits. So when it comes to deposits, that's what you're going to do to reserve the home. So I want to walk you through the process a little bit to get you to the point of when you're putting a deposit. So let's say there's a community that you want to go check out. You bring your agent with you. You go in, you walk into the sales office, you sign in. You start to look at the model homes. You probably have a price sheet with you so you know what lots are available. You check out the homes. You say, hey, you know what? I like plan number 2. Cool. We're going to come back in, and if you have a price sheet, you'll know what plan 2s are available. If not, you go back into the sales office and you say, hey, you know what? We like plan number 2. We want to go see what's available. From there, they're going to say, hey, we have lot 40, lot 50, and lot 55, all for plan number 2. Cool, let's go check them out. They may vary a little bit depending on the stage that they are in being built, right? Depending on the actual location of them. Maybe one of them has a bigger backyard. Maybe one of them is in a little bit more of a desirable location. Maybe one of them is just dirt and you have the opportunity to select all your upgrades and it's going to line up with your time frame better. Maybe there's something that's already a little bit closer to completion, but they've already selected the flooring, the cabinets, the countertops. Maybe a buyer already selected that home, but then they fell out of escrow, but because they had already been in escrow, they selected certain upgrades and maybe you like those upgrades. And now the builder's maybe going to give them to you at a discounted price because they want to get the home sold. I'm just giving you a bunch of different scenarios. So you go check out the lots and you find one that you like and you want to move forward on it. The builder is usually going to work one of 2 ways. The first one is some builders will let you put a deposit. That's going to be a portion of your down payment. It could be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $30,000. It could be 1%, 2%, 3% of the purchase price. Every builder is going to be a little bit different. So make sure you double check with the sales rep so that you can know how much the deposit is actually going to be. Now, again, that deposit is a portion of your down payment, right? So you can put a deposit and that's going to reserve the home. And then you're going to go ahead and apply with the builder to get pre-approved by them. Now, in the event that you apply for the pre-approval and you don't qualify, or the numbers don't make sense and it's not something that you're comfortable with, no worries. You can cancel and you get your deposit back. Again, every builder is a little bit different. I'm just talking about my experience. Or two, sometimes builders won't even let you put the deposit until you get pre-approved by the builder's lender. In which case, hey, you know what? I really like lot 45. It's perfect for me. And the builder's going to say, okay, cool. Here's a link. Here's our lender's phone number. Here's whatever it is that we need to get over to you in order for you to apply for a loan with our builder. Once you get the green light and they say, hey, you know, we looked at all your information, you're all good to go. Now they'll let you put a deposit to reserve the home. Now, the cool thing is that when you put a deposit, like I mentioned, it's a portion of your down payment. But if your home is going to be ready in 6 months, right? And let's say your total down payment is going to be $30,000, but the deposit is $10,000, the remaining $20,000 isn't actually due until you get closer to your home actually being completed. Which means that, hey, if you want to reserve a home, but you want to stack up a little bit more money while your home is being built, you can do that. And that's one of the cool things about new construction. Or maybe you need to work on your finances a little bit, but based on everything that you provide to the builder's lender, they know that you're capable of being able to buy this home and have the funds ready or have your credit where it needs to be or stuff like that. So they'll help you create a game plan to where you're able to reserve the home so no one else can take it, and also have enough time to work on the things that you need to get done. So by the time the home is ready, you're golden and you can go ahead and close the transaction and get the keys to your brand new home. So point being is, deposit is going to be a portion of your down payment that reserves the home. Two, sometimes the builder will let you put a deposit and then get pre-approved. If you don't get approved, then you get your deposit back. Or sometimes you have to get approved first, and then once you're approved, they'll let you put the deposit, right? Now, the important thing about deposits is that you can get it back given certain circumstances, right? If you don't qualify for the loan, usually there's a time period where they say, hey, you know what? If you let us know before X date, you get your deposit back. However, this is very important, and your realtor needs to know this, and as a buyer, you need to know this. There will be a certain date where if you've been approved, if you've agreed to all the terms and all the numbers of the sale and purchase of this home, and you now pass a certain date, and after that you decided, hey, I don't want to buy it anymore. Maybe I found a better deal. Maybe I saw another home that I like better. This deposit might be at risk. And so you want to make sure that when you put a deposit on a home, it's a home that you truly see yourself living in, or that you truly see the value in purchasing it and moving forward on it, and that you're aware of the dates of when you would need to potentially walk out to get your deposit back. Because once you pass that date, it's going to be very tough to get that deposit back. So that's what's up with deposits. Now, the next thing is inspections. Now, a lot of times the builder is going to have something called, they're going to call it like a new home orientation, or they call it like a blue tape walk. I'm sure there's a lot of different terms for it. But essentially, when the home is being built, the builder needs somebody from the city or the county to come out, and before they can move forward onto certain stages, that person needs to sign off on it and say, hey, everything here looks correct. When they're doing the foundation, before they can move forward, somebody needs to come and say, hey, the foundation looks good, you can move forward. When they're doing the framing, somebody needs to come and say, hey, the framing looks good, you can move forward, etc. Because of that, the builders are very proud of the product that they are offering in terms of the homes that they are building. And so when you get closer to the home being completed, depending on what stage you are of the home being built, sometimes they'll do something called a frame walk. If your home's going to be built in 6 months, and you have the opportunity to be a part of the process when they just have the framing up, or they're in a certain stage of building the home, sometimes the builder will have you come out and they'll have somebody walk you through the home. Hey, look, this is how this is supposed to look. This is the framing. This is that, all that good stuff. And you can check it out. If they're past that point, then of course if the drywall's up, you're not going to be able to remove everything to see the framing, right? But point being is the builders do their best to make sure that everything is up to code and done correctly. Now, when they get closer to the home being completed, and now you're getting closer to the deal closing and you getting the keys to your brand new home, they're going to do something called a new home orientation or a blue tape walk. And essentially, that's somebody from the builder. Usually it's somebody who kind of oversees the entire project, or it's somebody who is really in charge of making sure that all the homes are built correctly. And that person is going to walk you through your home and share with you everything that you need to know about your home. All the features of it, where the gas shutoff is, how to use everything in your home properly and correctly. And it's also going to be an opportunity for you to point out different things that you want fixed in the home, because it's a brand new home. A lot of times it's cosmetic things. Maybe there's a window lock that is broken. Maybe there's a door handle that's loose. Maybe there's a cabinet that's hanging. I've even seen things like broken windows. I've seen things where the stucco just has a bunch of dirt and debris on it because maybe it was raining and all the mud from the dirt in the backyard would just blasting up against the wall. It can be a number of things, but that's an opportunity for you as a buyer to point those things out and make sure that the builder takes care of it for you, right? Now, when it comes to inspections, every builder is a little bit different. If you want to get your own third-party inspector, that means I want to get an inspector that has nothing to do with the builder. They're just a neutral third party. You can do that. But the builder will usually require that you give them a certain notice in advance before that inspector can come out there. Or they may require that the inspector that you hire has a certain amount of insurance or a certain type of credentials in order for them to come out. Now, in my experience, I believe that the builder is not a huge fan of you having a third-party inspector come out, and this is just my opinion, because one, they believe that they're doing everything in their power to build this home correctly. And because it's a brand new home, why would you need another inspector to come out when we made sure that we did everything up to code? Now, with that being said, I think that builders do a great job of building homes. And I've also encouraged my clients every single time to go ahead and get a third-party inspector, because that third-party inspector oftentimes finds stuff that the builder doesn't necessarily call out. Now, there may be things in terms of codes and regulations that the third-party inspector may have a difference of opinion as opposed to the builder's inspector. And so it's important to read the fine print in your purchase agreement to see, hey, if the outside inspector were to call anything out, what's the protocol for that? What is the builder's responsibility to take care of those things, right? But without getting too deep into it, just know that the builder is going to provide you with your own inspection, where they're going to walk you through the home and share with you everything that you need to know, and you can point out different things. And you can also have a third-party inspector come out there as long as they meet the credentials that the builder is asking for, and you give them a certain amount of notice up front so that they can fit it into their schedule and make sure that everything's all good. Because a lot of times the builder won't even let the agent go with their clients to the inspection. Why is that? Oftentimes, when they're doing these inspections, they have multiple that they have to do in a day. And so they have certain time frames in which they need to get everything done. And sometimes agents can go in there and they can just ask a bunch of questions and they could potentially delay the process. And other times too, the builder can just have their own reasons for why they don't want the agent to be there. Again, I'm just going based off of my experience. But point is, if you want to get your own inspector, you could. Just make sure you let the builder know in advance and that you find out everything that they need to get your own inspector out there. Because in the event that you do get an inspector out there and they do find some stuff, you can now submit that report to the builder and let them know, hey, look, before I move in, my outside inspector, they found all these things. I want you to take care of them. Or a lot of times the builder is going to offer you a warranty. And so even if they don't take care of those items right before you move in, you at least have proof that this stuff was documented to have been in place before you moved in, and so that the builder is still responsible for taking care of them. Again, you want to read the fine print in the agreement. You want to go over this with your agent. You want to go over this with the builder, with the sales rep, to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Because when everyone's on the same page, it makes it a smoother process for everybody involved. Now, when it comes to negotiations, this is why it's important to have your agent with you. Because a lot of times when it comes to negotiations, there's things that the sales rep may not bring to your attention right away because you may not even ask for it. And so because you never asked for it, you may not have known that it was available. And so since you didn't know that it was available, sales rep probably didn't even really need to tell you. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's talk about sales price. So we talk about lot premiums, right? Now, when it comes to the sales price, most buyers that I talk to, that's the first thing that they want to negotiate. Hey, I want to drop the price $25,000. I want you, instead of selling me this house for $800,000, I want it for $750,000. But there's a couple of things that you have to keep in mind. Number one is that price is probably one of the first things that the builder is not going to lower. And the reason why is because as they start to sell these homes and they're building out future homes or future phases, they need to make sure that the future homes are going to appraise that value. So if I have a home that I'm trying to sell for $800,000 and I drop the price to $750,000, well, it's going to appraise now, let's say at $750,000. So when I try to sell that same home 2 months later, how am I going to justify selling it for $800,000 when this recent sale just closed for $750,000? It's going to be tough. So what they would much rather do is they would probably rather give you some more incentives. Let's help you out with your closing costs a little bit more. Let's help buy down your interest rate a little bit more. Another thing when it comes to negotiations is you probably have a better chance of, again, maybe getting some type of appliance package, right? Maybe getting some upgrades included into the home, right? And so when it comes to negotiations, it's really going to vary by builder, and it's going to vary based on what it is that you as a buyer need, or what it is that your client needs. So when we're talking about negotiations, it's really important to also keep in mind the timing of this. Why do I share that? Because when it comes to negotiations, if a builder is selling all their homes really fast and they have a ton of demand, they're going to be less likely to negotiate with you, because why would they? Hey, if you don't want it at this price, I got 10 other people that are willing to take it for that price. Makes sense, whether you're new construction or just a seller on the open market. Now, when a builder has homes sitting, right now we're in October 2025, market's a little bit slower. If the homes are just sitting, you as a buyer have more negotiation power. You have more leverage. So what does that leverage actually look like? Well, when the builders are getting close to the end of a quarter, they actually have sales quotas that they need to meet. And also, when the builder is creating these homes and building out their community, they usually want to sell a certain amount of homes in the current phase before they go out and start building future homes. It makes sense. Hey, if we're going to be building 50 homes and we're in phase 1 and we've released 10 homes and we've only sold 2, why are we going to start building phase 2 and phase 3? We need to sell what we have first. And then as they get closer to the end of a quarter, now the pressure's really on and they need to get the home sold. Now, if you knew this and you're an agent, you can use that as leverage to negotiate and help your client get a better deal. And if you're a buyer and you know this, then you can bring it up to the sales rep and see what they can do to get you a better deal. Again, price is probably going to be a little bit tougher, but you can probably get some additional incentives. You can probably get some more help with your closing costs. You can get creative with it. Point being is, it's good to be aware of the timing of the market and when you're buying this home. And it's also good to be aware of what is it that I need as a buyer, or what is it that my client needs in order for this deal to make sense for them. And if things are a little bit slow for the builder, you now have some more negotiation power, which takes me into quick move-ins. So quick move-ins are probably going to be one of the best opportunities to be able to negotiate and get a great deal as a buyer or for your client. Now, why is that? Because it goes back to what I was just sharing with you about the builder wants to sell their current inventory before they start building more. Because if they go out and they build a bunch more, but they haven't sold what they currently have, well, now they're at risk of just having a bunch of sitting inventory. They don't want to do that. And so a quick move-in, these are going to be homes that are pretty much almost completed. They may be 30, 45, 60 days out from being done. And as a result, they've already had pre-selected upgrades. They've already had maybe even some potential price reductions, right? Because again, if it starts at a certain price and then they add a $50,000 lot premium, they're more likely to start to lower that lot premium, or they're more likely to maybe discount some of these upgrades to get you to buy the home so that they can sell that quick move-in and move forward into the next phase. So quick move-in is going to be a great opportunity right now. Again, we're in October 2025. Things can change. The market's always shifting. But as of right now, quick move-ins, you have builders that are offering lower interest rates. You have builders that are offering additional incentives to help cover your closing costs. So when it comes to quick move-ins, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to get a great deal, as opposed to a house that's going to be ready in 6 to 8 months. They're not as incentivized to offer you more, because if that home's going to be ready in 6 or 8 months, they can afford to wait a little bit longer for the right buyer to come along. Whereas a quick move-in, that home is sitting. That's inventory that they need to get off of their books and they need to get sold. And as a result, you have more room for negotiation, and they're probably going to offer you some more incentives or find some way to make the deal work for you. And then lastly, you have phases. So when a community is being built, they're going to have different phases. Let's say they're building a total of 50 homes and they have 10 phases. Maybe every phase they release 5 homes. And let's say there's 2 different floor plans. So they may release 3 plan 1s and 2 plan 2s. And point being is, as they start to release these phases, one of the best times to get into a community is in the first phase. Again, this is all dependent on market conditions, but why is that important? It's important because every time they release a new phase of homes, and again, it's dependent on the market, but in the market that we're in, prices keep going up. And so if phase 1, the homes are starting at 700,000, phase 2, homes may be starting at 705,000, 710,000. Now, it may not seem like a crazy difference, but by the time you go from phase 1 starting at 700,000, and now you're at phase 7 or 8, and now that same home is 750,000, 760,000, you can see, man, might have been a good idea to get in that phase 1. Also, tying back to the quick move-ins, they're not going to want to move forward on future phases until they sell a certain amount of their current phase. So I'll give you guys a prime example. I had a client and they were in one of the first phases of a community being built. They reserved the home. For whatever reason, didn't end up working out. They were going to get the home for around 700,000. Fast forward about 18 months, that same home, no upgrades, no nothing else like that, was going for around $850,000. That's a $150,000 price difference for the same home. Again, upgrades, lot premiums, all that stuff, you can factor that in. But just the home alone, the same floor plan, was going for around $150,000 more. Just because so much time had passed, the market had changed, prices kept going up, and now that phase 1 home is at a phase 7 or phase 8 price. I had another client who, they were in the earlier phases, but not phase 1 or phase 2, bought their home, took about 7 or 8 months for it to be built. By the time the home was completed and they got the keys to their new home and moved in, that same home was starting for around $200,000 more. Crazy. They were starting around 1.2, now that same home was starting around 1.4. And so that's the power of phases, is you want to get into a community when they first open up. Again, this is all based on market conditions, but you want to get in when they first open up, because in the market that we're in right now, prices just keep rising. And so if you're able to get in early, either you're going to be walking into some potential equity as the community continues to get built out, or you're going to lock in a lower price. Whereas if you maybe wait for a later phase release, those prices can keep going up. So this is just a quick overview. I say quick, I don't know how long the video has been, but it's a quick overview. Of course, I want to put some more disclaimers out there. Every builder is different, so you want to double check with the builder, and you want to double check with the sales rep to see what the breakdown looks like in terms of them covering the cost of your agent, what it looks like in terms of any of these lot premiums, upgrades, solar, landscaping being included in the sale of the home, and the home that you buy, how different does that look from the model home. You want to double check with the tax rate to see if it has a low tax rate, to see if the community has Mello-Roos, if it has special assessments, what those numbers look like, how that affects your affordability. You want to double check with the incentives. What incentives are they offering? How can I use them? You want to see the time frames of them. Hey, what homes do you have available? When are they going to be ready? What's available now? What's available down the road? Quick note on that. When you're looking at time frames, a lot of times you'll go to a community and they may be on phase 3 out of, let's say, 10. And you're going to see a map of all the homes. And so you may see a lot and you go, oh man, they're building homes 11 through 20 right now. But man, did you see the backyard on lot 57? I want that one. That one is ooh, right? But that home may be released in phase 9. And so a lot of times buyers will ask, well, hey, can I just buy that one right now? Oftentimes the answer is going to be no. And that's because, one, that home is probably going to have a higher lot premium, for one, if it has a way bigger backyard and is in a more desirable location. But two, the builder is only going to make that home available whenever that phase is going to be released. So if that future home is in phase 9, but you're in phase 3, it's very unlikely that they're just going to release that lot specifically for you. Especially if prices keep going up, why would they sell you that home now at today's price when 6 months from now, when that home becomes available, they could potentially sell it for more? So just quick little side note on that. Timeframes. Deposits, you want to double check with the builder to see what the deposit looks like. How much is it? How is it applied in relation to my down payment? Do I need to get approved before putting a deposit, or can I put a deposit and then I can apply for the loan? And what protects my deposit? What puts me at risk of losing my deposit? You want to double check all these things with the builder. Again, this is me just giving you a general overview so you can be educated and informed when going out to the builder. The last thing I want is for you guys to walk into a new construction community, not be aware of any of this stuff, and then either as a buyer be upset because you were really excited and you and your family were expecting to buy a home, only to find out that you weren't prepared for all the additional costs and timeframes. Or two, I don't want you to be an agent who gets your clients excited, takes them out, you weren't aware of any of this, you didn't share any of this with them, and now they're looking at you like you don't know what you're doing. Inspections, you want to double check with the builder. Can I bring my own inspector? If I do, what do you need from me in terms of time frame, credentials? What do you need from me so that I can get my own inspector out there? Negotiations. It's going to depend on the market that you're in, the home that you're looking for, the needs that you have as a buyer or the needs that your client has, right? And what is it that you can actually negotiate? Quick move-ins. Hey, what quick move-ins do you guys have available? What kind of deal can we put together if I were to move forward on one of your quick move-ins? Because remember, quick move-ins is inventory that's pretty much almost complete and they want to get it sold so they can continue to move forward and build. And then lastly, the phases. If you can get to a community early and get into an early phase, great. If not, that's okay, but you want to be aware of the phases and how the prices can change. Again, in this market, it looks like they're going up, but maybe in another market, they could be going down. You just never know. Depends on the time that you watch this video. Again, it's October 2025. I'm in Southern California. But point being is, you want to be aware of the phases, how many homes they're building, and what stage are they in to see, hey, is this a good opportunity for me to get into a home now? So this is just a list of 10 things that buyers that I've worked with and that our team has worked with that they wish they knew before going out and shopping for a new construction home. So really appreciate you guys watching this video. If there's anything that you feel that I missed, and chances are I probably did miss something, I'm not perfect, right? I'm sure I'm going to end this video and be like, oh, I should have even thought of this right here. But this should be a good start for you guys if you are thinking about buying new construction. This should be a good start for you if you're an agent looking to get into new construction, or you want to be in a position to really inform your clients about new construction homes. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, comment down below if there's anything you think I should add, comment down below what you think of this video, what types of videos you guys want to see from me, and I'll see you guys on the next one.